In this video I make a simple yet very useful router mortise jig. To make this jig I need 3 pieces of the wooden bar in which I want to route the mortise. I clamp them together, without too much pressure, and I glue and I screw the outside ones to a piece of plywood. With a marquetry strip I make a stop to put easily in the correct position all the wooden bars. I draw 2 lines to cut a slot. In that slot I will put a screw to lock the marquetry strip in place. I need a screw like that. The length of the screw must be less than the thickness of the plywood where I glued the wooden bars. Once I tighten the screw, I can put the wooden bars always in the same place all the times. That way I can adjust only the first wooden bar, and then I route the mortise in the same place in the face of all the wooden bars I need. I screw the end of a strip of plywood to one of the wooden bars, and a little piece of plywood to the other wooden bar, in such a way that the strip can be placed at 90 degrees with the wooden bars. With the help of one of my tenons and my router, I screw another strip and another little piece of plywood. That way I will obtain a mortise with a length equal to my tenon width plus my router bit diameter. I have to cut a piece of tenon equal to my router bit diameter. I measure the tenon and the router bit diameter, and I calculate the piece of tenon length I need to cut. Length we need. That is my piece of tenon once I cut it. I think a tenth of a millimeter is nothing to worry about. I use that piece of tenon to put in the right place the strips of plywood that I use to restrict the movement of my router. I measure the length of my tenons. I adjust the routing depth just a bit below the mark, and I lock my router. I unlock the depth stop and I lock it again. Now I can unlock the router. I install the router guide, and I take the router bit to the center of the wooden bar I want to route. I don't have a mark in the base of my router to center it, so I align the router bit edges to a line I drew centered in the face of the wooden bar, and then I lock the router guide. I place a wooden bar in the jig, and I route a mortise. I check that my tenon fits in the mortise, and I draw 2 lines that will help me to know exactly where do I make the mortises in the wooden bars using my jig. If I want to make a joint with a wooden bar flush with the head of the other wooden bar, I put the wooden bar in the jig, and I adjust the head to the corresponding line. I move the wooden bar stop, the marked tip with a slot, until it touches the wooden bar head, and I tighten the screw. Now I can repeat that mortise in as many wooden bars as I may need. With a clamp, I prevent the wooden bar from moving when I am routing it. I check that everything is okay. It is not easy to center the router bit, and so the mortise, in the wooden bar face. I had a small displacement, just a distance equal to the thick of a sandpaper. I can try to center the router bit again, or in this case I can use that sandpaper to cause a displacement in the jig. I use that wooden bar to lever, so I can introduce the sandpaper easily between the wooden bars. Don't forget to wear your safety items: dust mask, safety goggles, ear protection. Wait until it stops spinning. Now everything is flush. If I need to make the joint in another position in the wooden bar face, I just have to mark that position with a line, and then I align the line with the corresponding line in the jig. And if I want to make the joint in the widest face, I have to make another jig, but this time I glue and I screw the widest faces of the wooden bars to the plywood. I can make the joint in the middle of the face, or I can make the joint in one side of the face. If I want the joint in the middle of the face, I draw the center line in the face. If I want the joint flush in the edge of the face, I draw the line in the way you can see in the video, and then I center the router bit in that line. You can watch how I made my rotor Tenon jig in my Woodworking channel. And remember that you can subscribe to my channel if you don't want to lose the next videos. I have another channel with more than 100 woodworking videos in Spanish. You can find the link in my channel. Thanks for watching.